Hello viewers, Super GT here. We're going to jump into a couple of really good races I had at Daytona in the Group 3 cars. I did a video earlier in the week and I was driving the Lamborghini Huracan and that actually was very good fun. But this one, we're going to be driving the Mazda RX Vision. As the week goes on and progresses, the sort of meta strategy develops and changes. So for this one, we're going to try something different compared to earlier in the week. Earlier in the week, we were, again, driving the Huracan. Driving it pretty much flat out, saving a little bit of fuel to save a little bit of time in the pit lane. But for this one, this car actually is very good on fuel compared to the others. And therefore, there's even more time to be saved with strategy. So we're going to try something a lot different compared to the other cars in this race. You might notice that a lot of the other cars are still using the Audi R8, most people here. So we can try and go for something alternative and see if it works. So we're starting 6th place. Let's see how many positions we can gain from here. Now at the moment, as I record this, the game is in an offline state, so you can't actually replay the game. It's a little bit frustrating, and therefore I thought, okay, let's go back into the live stream that I did on Wednesday night and try and find some good races and bring you that instead. I can't actually record anything new at the moment, a little bit frustrating. But this first lap is really a case of settling into the race, saving a little bit of fuel where we can, and if any positions, if we can really gain any positions, then we'll do it, but we're not going to fight too hard for it, not at this early stage. There is a penalty for one of the drivers there, further up in the order, and you might want to watch the two guys in front as they have a bit of a tangle. Luckily, neither of them get sent into the Shadow Realm. We continue. The German there serving the penalty. We're going to move up into 5th position, so didn't really have to work for that one, just moving up position for free, saving a lot of fuel. In fact, on that lap we crossed the finish line with 83% fuel, so we've saved really about 3% on that lap and didn't really put too much effort in to do it. Had a bit of a wide line there through the first corner, so the Frenchman goes through. I gained a position, then I lose one immediately, but there's no need to panic at this point. Still a long way to go, and we want to see if this strategy plays out. So longer there just behind in the Audi R8, serving the penalty. A little bit further into this lap. Now the Frenchman here kind of, just really made a massive hash of the bus stop. And then there's contact and he was already on his way off. And then he makes a rendezvous with Barrier on the outside there. And you can see the gap to the cars in front has opened up quite significantly, 1.5 seconds. We get the bump draft from Terminator Lucas, coming in clutch there with the big bump. Off-Rem Tyler serving a penalty, so we're going to move up a position, up into 4th now, courtesy of the crash and that penalty. So gaining 2, and actually I think we're gaining a little bit on that group in front, so that's important. So we're always conscious of that group and how close they are, and I was really trying to push on this lap to get into the slipstream of that car in front. And as we exit the bus stop, I was 3/4 of a second behind, which is just on the fringes of slipstream. But then once again, Terminator Lucas here, the absolute legend that he is, coming in with the bump draft again. We gain a couple of miles an hour, and then suddenly I'm in the slipstream. I'm gaining a lot of speed for free very quickly. So very smart driving there from Lucas behind. Pushing me actually helped him as well because he's in my tow, so everyone wins here. Apart from maybe this guy in 3rd, who has now 2 people on his tail. As we come into the bus stop, lap number 4, gaining on the lead as well. The leader here, 1.6 seconds ahead. I had a massive moment through the bus stop, and I luckily managed to gather that one together and not crash into the wall. So easy to do on that bus stop. It does get quite sketchy. Unfortunately, we crossed the track parameter boundary and we get ourselves a 1/2 second penalty, which is a bit laughable given how the top times in qualifying have achieved their times. That is something for another video, but you guys will laugh when you see how people have achieved the fastest lap times in qualifying for this event. But we lose 2 positions there, down into 6th. This is lap 5, and this is where the strategy begins to really come into effect. The top 6 here, myself included, fairly close, and as you can see, everyone else is going to peel off to the left hand side and into the pit lane. Now, the Mazda is so good on fuel that I can actually easily do an extra lap. And this is where the alternative strategy comes into play. I have clean air, I don't have slipstream, but I can just focus on getting a fast, clean lap, and then I can come in one lap later. And then we'll see how this one pans out in a lap's time. Coming into the bus stop, just trying to have a nice, fast run through here. Obviously that's the idea really, but especially on an in-lap, you want to be especially quick. And we crossed the split sector there, and actually we're on for a good lap, but we are not going to finish this lap because we are going to come into the pit lane on the left-hand side, ploughing in at 170 miles an hour, and then changing the tyres. Although you can actually do the strategy where you don't change your tyres, that's a very viable strategy as well. We are going to change the tyres, and then we are going to rejoin the track here in second place. Now, before the pit stop, before everyone went in, we were in 6th, and we were maybe 2 seconds away from the lead. Now I'm 2nd, and I'm 3/10 away from the lead. So that just shows you how good of a job the fuel saving is in this car. You save a lot of fuel, you don't have to spend so much time putting more fuel back in to get you to the end of the race. That's how you save the time. So we've moved up a significant amount here, and we're well within the time frame here to have a victory possibly. But we're still going to have to work for it. There's no doubt about that. See that group behind is only 1.2 seconds behind, so any mistake and we fall into the clutches of quite a big group, and that's exactly what we don't want. So I thought, let's work with Cavalier here. He's in the Citroen, which is another car that you can use for fuel saving. And let's work together, not fight too much. And Coque Lopez moved up into 3rd place, and he was the driver I was most worried about. He's a World Tour driver, very, very fast indeed, very accomplished. He's won many things on this game, on Gran Turismo. And as soon as I saw his name in the lobby, I thought, right, okay, he's the quickest guy here. He's the one to watch out for. So let's make sure that we can try and work together to pull away from him if at all possible. This is the end of lap number 8. And here, again, still behind Cavalier, 1.3 seconds in front of Coque Lopez. Now coming into the infield, I was getting awfully close to Cavalier, and I was just thinking, am I getting slowed down now? It's fine to work with another driver, but if you're getting slowed down, then there might become a point when you think, actually, it'd be better if I was in front here. And that's what I was beginning to think. So I went for the move here into this one, and the corner kind of tightens up, and you can actually send it down the inside quite easily at that turn. So we go for the overtake, pull it off nicely, and move up into the lead of the race. On lap 9, there's only 1 lap left to go after this one. So the timing is pretty good so far. We do have 2 long straights here to contend with. And given how long they are, it is quite hard to keep people behind. And as you can see here, this is the beginning of the final lap. We have 1 lap of fuel remaining. We should just about be okay. And as we go into the first corner, through the brakes, you're going to hear a sizable thud. And that is the end of Cavalier's racing career as he goes flying into the barrier on the apex of the corner. So that frees Coque Lopez up into 2nd place. So it's a direct duel now between myself and the Spaniard for the race victory. So let's see how this one pans out. Only half a lap remaining here, and I have to hold on, and we're going to get a very good victory starting from 6th. Let's see if we can do it. Into the final corner before the banking, before the oval, and then from here we only have the bus stop to contend with, the fearsome bus stop. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I think one of the hard things about the bus stop is that you have so much time to think about it. As Lopez is flashing his lights, he's making me very much aware of his progress and his presence behind me. So you have a lot of time to build up to this bus stop. I need to get this right, as I need to get a good launch off the corner. If you watch the video early in the week, you'd know how important it is to get a good run through here, as it can dictate the result of the race. Now this is where things are about to turn sour as we come through the oval. As I just slightly edge right, I want him to go to the right hand side the long way round, and then at the last second here There's a movement to the left, and then there's a collision. And we're going to drop down. Thankfully, I managed to do a 360 and keep it going forward, so I didn't lose too much time here. I actually run out of fuel. I'm just going to cross the line in 4th position. So that was a bit disappointing at the end, where we were in with a shot of the victory, then ended up 4th. And this is what happened to Cavalier at the beginning of the final lap. You just grazed that. I say just grazed it. I think you pretty much full on hit it. And then this is a replay of the incident at the end of the race. Now, looking back at this, I'm going to hold my hands up and say, yeah, it's my mistake. Because I wanted to cover him off and force him to back out by slightly moving left. And by the time I did it, it was too late. So you can see he's just gone into the gap at the bottom of the track. And my car, as you can see, is just slightly edged left. And I've done it just too late when he's actually already there. And it's, well, you can see the result of it, which is me turning completely to the right-hand side on a straight and ending up smashing into barrier. So a bit of a disappointing end, but no hard feelings. And it's racing. You learn from your mistakes and you go again, which is exactly what we're going to do here. So let's see if we can make it work and get a better result this time around. In fact, on that last race, I think I would have run out of fuel before the line anyway. So I think Coque Lopez would have jumped past me, even if he was slightly behind. So I don't think I would have actually won that race anyway, but it would have been interesting to see a direct battle up to the finish line. But there you go. This is the next race. Let's turn our attention to this one. Starting 7th this time instead of 6th, so one position further down. And as you do races, you've got to remember that the more races you do, the more experience you have. You learn from each race. So now that I've done the race in this car, I understand the fuel strategy. I can do it maybe a little bit better this time around, and hopefully get a better result. So here, Andrew Racing, perhaps a little bit slow, because you can see he's already been gapped by 5th place. And that's something I'm always conscious of. I don't want to get sort of trapped behind someone who's just getting dropped a little bit and who's already been dropped here. So I thought, okay, into the infield. Let's just send up the inside into the International Horseshoe and move up into 6th. And let's just be a little bit more aggressive and just try to close that gap. Because I think the slipstream is actually incredibly important in this race. Because you can sit in the slipstream, you can save more fuel, and then therefore save more time in the pit lane, which is why I think it's an important aspect of the race. And we had an incident there, 2 cars through the right-hander, getting tangled up. I think one must have hit the other, and then they waited for them. So we're going to gain 2 positions, 3 on this lap so far, so that's good. And another bonus is that we are in the slipstream now of R4M Tyler, just in front. I think I'm just about in it. Very close indeed, anyway. I'm right on the fringes of it, so I need to make sure that I have a good run through here. In fact, I catch up by the time we get to the bus stop. As we go through the bus stop, I'm definitely in the slipstream now, as we have a bit of a moment on the exit. We've managed to drop Andrew, so he's over a second behind now. So that lap was actually very good. I think I timed the overtake strategically. I made the right decisions. Overtake Andrew because I think he was a little bit off there. Then, fortunately, some of the other cars managed to have an accident, benefited from that, and then got into the slipstream. Pretty much everything I wanted to happen happened on that lap, other than everyone in the entire race crashing other than me. That would have been ideal, but you can't really expect that to ever happen. So here, these 2 guys go side by side, courtesy of the slight mistake of the Italian through turn 1, and they're going to eventually settle into single file. Now, you might have noticed behind us here we have Coque Lopez once again, and I know he's the fastest guy in here, so he's the guy to watch out for. So at this point, I'm quite happy to keep him behind, make sure he doesn't make too much progress. Let's slow down his rate of advancement in this race, make sure that he can't get too far forward. NLR longer in the lead, actually making very good progress as the Italian goes a little bit wide on the exit there. And I'm going to slip underneath, move up into 3rd. Let's bump draft R4M Tyler here, pushing down straight. And again, look at that, bottom right of the screen. We're going to save fuel in the slipstream and this is going to buy us time in the pit lane. Lopez again bumping us, so we're going to basically have a bit of a human centipede down the back straight as we bump each other with the slipstream. And again, we're going to do it here. I'm going to bump into the back of Tyler. I think Lopez in turn is going to do the same. We're going to bump each other, make progress, and it's all for free, so it's all good. We're all in a good place here. So slightly defensive line, I would say, there from Tyler. So you're always conscious of that. Are they defending? Are they trying to slow us down? Or not trying to slow us down, but they don't want me to overtake. So these are the things you have to always take into consideration. Coco Lopez there, actually with a penalty as we look behind. And that is going to factor into this race, quite importantly, as you do lose quite a lot of time around this circuit for serving penalties. Into the bus stop. End of lap number 4. Tyler with a catastrophic error. And he's going to exit stage left and say goodbye. There's Lopez serving his 2-second penalty, and actually he makes a very smart decision here because he goes straight into the pit lane after serving the penalty. And I think that's actually a very smart thing to do, because rather than carry on for the entirety of the straight, you jump into the pit lane, you're not going to lose as much time. You lose your momentum by serving the penalty, and therefore you can actually just jump into the pit lane and you don't lose as much time by doing that. As long as you're within the right sort of laps to do the pit stop, it's actually quite a good, smart way of racing. Now, as we did in the previous race, I'm going to continue for one more lap. You can see there pretty much everyone going into the pit lane. One lap later, it's my turn. End of lap number 6. You see here the darkness is beginning to descend on the circuit. We're going to change tyres, add in fuel. Last time we had 66%. We're going to do exactly the same here again. And we're going to rejoin the circuit in 4th place. Quite interesting there. So what's happened here? Okay, NLR Longer in 2nd. He was in the lead anyway, so he should be ahead of me. Tidgney is in the lead. He is attempting a no-stop strategy. So you're not going to come in for any tyres or any fuel at all. He's just going to stay out for the entirety of the race with a mega fuel-saving strategy. So it's quite an interesting way of racing. We'll see if that pays off. And then you have GTR Racer just in front of us. And I'm presuming that this guy either is massively short-fueled or didn't take new tyres. One of the two. Therefore, for this second stint, he's probably going to be a bit slower than his first stint, as he's going to have to protect his tyres, or he's going to have to fuel save. Therefore, I'm quite conscious of that. I don't want to stay behind him too long, especially as we have Coco Lopez lingering 1 second behind. And we want to make progress and try to sort of pull away if at all possible. So here we're going to bump draft GTR Racer down the straight and boost each other. You see here, normally you're going down the straight about 172 miles an hour. We reached 180 there momentarily. You can see the benefit of bump drafting and slipstreaming. You can gain a good 6, 7, 8 miles an hour down the straight. Now here I was going to go for the nice little fake out move, pretend to move left to the normal racing line and then switch back to the inside into the International Horseshoe and make the overtake. And we did it quite successfully there. I say quite successfully, I mean it's absolutely successful because we moved up the position and move up into 3rd. And the main consideration here is one going forward and one going backwards. The forward one is Tidgney in the lead. One going backwards is Lopez, who is swiftly approaching our position. And one lap later, this is the situation here. Tidgney, he's not really fighting anyone, he's just driving his own race. And he's just trying to conserve as much fuel as possible. Normally this car would use about 17% of fuel in a lap. He's going to have to use 10% a lap because there's 10 laps. And that's quite an effort of fuel saving. And it's quite courageous, and I actually quite admire his choice to do that. But as you can see there, as we look behind momentarily, Lopez follows me through into the bus stop. And we are in a very familiar position as we were in the first race. So I'm going to try and swerve, go all over the track here, to try to break the toe, but it's not really worth doing, as he is just going to follow me all the way. And with 1 lap to go, I do have just about enough fuel here. Just going to have a quick look, 19%. 18%, but this car can use about 17% on full revs, so it's okay. We don't really have to worry about fuel here. It's just a case of, can we keep Coque Lopez behind for this lap? It looks like NLR Longa in the lead is going to win this one, barring any catastrophic errors from him. But I'm going to do my best here to finish second, and I think, again, that would be a good result. We started this one in 7th place. So to move forward 5 positions up against some very good drivers here, I'll be very happy with that. But let's see if we can do it. Through the fast sweeping left, looking for that darker part of the track on the left-hand side, and use that as your brake marker into this right-hander. Getting on the power as early as possible, but this car is a little bit sketchy sometimes on power. And the same applies for this corner. You can get on the power very early, run out quite wide, but it does get a little bit sketchy, especially the transition there over to the oval. The car does go over a little bit of a bump, and it can be quite tricky to get right. So here we go then. The same as before, Coque Lopez waiting in the midst, just behind, looking for that potential slipstream move. This is exactly what I did to Key 25 in an earlier video, the video from 3 days ago. Into the bus stop for the final time of the race. Can we get a good run through here? It's not too bad, but Lopez is very close behind. I actually lifted off slightly on the way in to get him to have a worse run on the way out. Here we go then. I'm going to stick firmly to the left this time and make sure he doesn't go up the inside. Absolutely not. We're not going to make that same mistake twice. And as we come to the line, it's going to be so close. Look at this. He's going to pull out to the right-hand side. He's got the outside line. In the run-up to the finish, we finished second by 0.002 of a second. How close is that? Well, it's 0.002, obviously. Look at that on the line. You can barely tell from that who's won it. But my goodness, what a race, what a finish. And very happy to finish second overall. So a really good couple of races there. Really enjoyed them. And I hope you enjoyed them as well. Thank you so much for watching. Get yourself subscribed if you're not already. But that is all from me. Have yourself an amazing day, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.